So I guess we'll start with introductions. So meet some of your board members. Hi. I love your haircut. It's so cute. So I'm Tessa, and I'm the Director of Development for the Reno NORML Chapter, which I'm really excited to be because I really love all of Northern Nevada. I like reaching out. I like creating joy. And definitely, I think I'm in the right spot. So if you want to be involved, I'm absolutely happy to chat with you more about how you can do that. We'll have a couple of those calls to actions coming up as well, too. Christine, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Christine Gomez, General Manager at Bloom Reno, also the Executive Director of the NORML Chapter.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Tina Ullman. I'm our Director of Development, so Tessa's counterpart for Las Vegas and our Nevada chapter, and I'm also the brand manager for Old Pal. So going to be coming up here the second week of the month to help with the meetings and answer any questions and just kind of talk about what we're doing from a statewide perspective and help guide the team as much as I can. So thank you guys for coming. This is a fantastic turnout. My first NORML meeting, there was like 12 and a half people there. So you guys beat Las Vegas. Woo! Reno's been a really good community so far. And Miss Cheetah, if you want to raise your hand for everybody. Oh, this is our communications director, so if you're seeing posts online, they're done by this fabulous lady here. Always reshare it. It's so important to share the information. It's one of the simplest things you can do to actually keep activity going for our group and what we got rocking. So, are there any other board members in the house I missed? No, that's just it for tonight. Okay, but we got a couple other people. Heather's our treasurer. She's not here this evening. She's got to work. We also have Kelly Rush. You might have heard her radio show on one of the AM stations, but she's going to be our political liaison. And also Jen, I forget what her title is, Deputy Director. So we've got a couple other people. Tony, Communications Committee.
Yes. Also Communications Committee.
Yes. He's busy communicating at the moment. Okay, so that's pretty much that. So I'm going to dive into just a couple of quick things. You can follow along on your agenda easily. Take notes if you need to. So we're going to recap real quick the Democratic Caucus, which just happened, of course, in this last month. Nevada as a state, job well done, guys. Sanders was technically the winner for us here in our state, which meant everybody was behind a cannabis-friendly candidate. So really happy to see the turnout, really impressive. Nationally, though, the update for you today is a little bit different. So the current Democratic delegates, Biden has 846, Sanders has 684, so there's quite a difference between the two. Biden, not necessarily a cannabis-friendly candidate. So if you have loved ones or friends in other states where they are still to make their votes on that, it's great to get in communication with them to at least maybe speak to them about what their stance is on things. If they want cannabis legalized, if they do, maybe they need to choose a little differently. But of course, you're just educating people all around. So, but hoping for bigger things with that. Smoke the vote. So this is kind of our big goal for the year, especially now that the caucus is out of the way. This is really the next step that's coming. It's important to just get people registered to vote first and foremost. So if they're not, on our Instagram, Cheetah's great about sharing it with a little register to vote thing. I think it's still on there. It's an easy way to click through. I have, and so I can share it with pop-up members too, the little a printout with a QR code that you can scan. You can actually get on to register that way as well. So many ways to register or to get their registration information if they don't have it updated. But yeah, definitely get people in and ready for this year's big vote down the road. More importantly, our bigger goal overall is going to be the road to 2021. Now, of course, if somebody's registered to vote, that means they can actually sit and tell their legislator what they want to happen in their city or their state and beyond. But in 2021, we're hoping this year to have a lot more people in front of that Carson Legislative Building. We'll keep you posted. Yeah. I should actually know, I'm sorry, board members, Noah, by the way, in the back. Noah's my Carson captain. Really rock. And so just in Carson City, we're really starting to spread into there as well too. Technically, we have a meeting the third Wednesday of every month at Comma Coffee, which is right across the street from the legislative building. So really good position, really good vibes, and we hope to come out there and help push through some stuff that's going to work better for all of us, whether you're in the industry or a consumer. Just in general, we're going to change things together, guys. So okay, call to action. These are some things that you can do immediately in these first few moments. So legalized cannabis shirts, you saw those beauties over there. We do still have some left, and we will have more on the way as well. Super soft, they just say legalized cannabis. They are $10 for a shirt if you're a non-member, $7 if you are a member, and if you want to become a member of NORML, it's $30, and of course your shirt absolutely included in that, and it just helps support the national efforts that are going on as well too. 420, I'm gonna actually throw you a little bit in here, Tony. Sorry I didn't prep you for this.
Okay.
Exactly, I'm like, I think I can handle it. Will you tell everybody a bit more about the event you're putting on and how you want our room to be involved?
So 420, we're going to do a comedy show. That's going to be a benefit for NORML. So 20% of all ticket proceeds will go back to NORML, and then we'll do a raffle there. But the idea is that we're going to sell between 10 to 20 tickets, depending on if you get VIP or not get VIP. And we're just going to have a good time. So it's going to be a comedy show. We're going to have NORML set up upstairs with raffle baskets as well. So if you work for a cannabis company and you want to donate a basket, please donate. It's a great way for us to make money. Las Vegas NORML makes tons of money off doing the raffle baskets, and we're going to get a bunch of people that are not in the cannabis industry coming to this event as well, since it is 420 and it's a comedy show. So it's a great way to showcase what NORML is to people that are not in the industry at all. Cool.
Thank you. You'll put posters up and everything?
Yeah, I'll make sure that's shared on the NORML page, and I'll be talking with Christine, and we'll be making an event page by the end of this week, and everyone will know all the details.
Rockin'.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
So with that, of course, if you want to be involved in it, keep in touch, especially with myself. I'm kind of working that street team, so we can definitely get you involved and get you there and having a good time. Of course, your ticket would be on the house, right? Don't
Yes.
pay to get in if you're working that move.
If you're a NORML member, the tickets are free for you guys. Just FYI.
Even a better reason to get your shirt today. It's like a triple whammy.
Oh, that crowd looked good all in those shirts. Also for 420, so donations. So this is something that's actually a pretty continuous effort amongst NORML altogether, actually. Definitely you can talk with either companies you work for, people you know who are consumers, or any range of people really who want to support legalizing cannabis efforts. One thing we are looking for is definitely monthly meeting sponsors. We'd love if there's one group who wants to put up a front to cover a quarter, looking for $200 for that one, so feel free to ask somebody, and never be afraid to ask too, because these are adults you're talking to. They can choose what to do with their money, and if they really want to see change, they'll put their money where their mouth is too. Also raffle prizes. We always love having raffle prizes, some to give away. We've got some pieces here for some people in the crowd today as well. But if you've got other things towards our future efforts, please, they can be non-cannabis related too. Like we've got, like I said, the ski pass. Like that's awesome to have one of those, donated to us tonight. So anything you guys are able to access, get in touch with me. I'll be the hub up for that. And I should just say my email's pretty easy, tess@harmoniuscbd.com. But again, you can catch us in all kind of ways. So one more call to action that I'm excited about going to, and Christine's going to be going to as well. And you guys can feel free to join us, especially if you're wearing a shirt. It'd be awesome. There is a DUI meeting happening at the Capitol on the 20th of this month. So 320, yeah, you're listening in, yeah, you gotta be there, Noah. So it's gonna be at 8 a.m. at the Legislative Building. I don't know what room it's in, but we'll find out. But they're gonna be talking about the DUI laws, which obviously for right now for all of us are pretty important, because as far as I understand, it is a felony if you get caught at this point, which is much worse than a slap on the wrist or anything that drunk people have. So we don't want that, especially going forward with cannabis lounges. If we're going to finally eventually have safe places to be, we want to be also safe going home. We'll figure all those pieces out. But testimonials, I don't know much about how to do those. Tina, can you say anything about that?
Yes, so we all have an opportunity to give a 2-minute testimonial. And we want to make sure that if you don't know how to give a testimonial, you don't feel pressured anyway, you can just be there to support. There was about 25 NORML members last time that they met, and we showed up and they saw that, hey, we want this law changed because it affects all of us here. So obviously a felony could ruin your life, and we don't want anyone's life ruined. We just want people to be safe consumers. So you're more than welcome to come. If you'd like to plan on speaking, please reach out to us. We want to be strategic about how we say things so we're not repeating ourselves. And you can find me, your old pal Tina, on Instagram, or we also have the Las Vegas NORML Instagram. But if nothing else, just come. There's going to be 4 meetings throughout the year. One just happened, and the ultimate goal is to change the per se law. So right now it's 2 nanograms. If you're caught driving, your car smells like weed, there's probable cause, they could detain you, take you down to the station, blood test you. Even if you smoked a week ago, you absolutely have 2 nanograms. That is parts per billion. Parts per billion. So this is absolutely a law that affects all of us and all of our friends that consume. So yes, that is Friday the 20th, and it's going to be in Las Vegas, but you will be video conferenced in. So we'd love to have you guys show up and just represent consumers.
Anybody possibly free on that day already that knows they want to come? Yeah. Don't worry, mark it down, think about it, join us if you can. carpools happening to 2 people. We're down for that.
Absolutely. 320.
Rockin'. Okay, so last piece for me, really, I want to just kind of touch on the street team. So street team, I'm definitely looking for a couple more people who have a little bit of spare time to help. The first important piece is just even flyer delivery about this wonderful meeting or about the Smoke the Vote, whatever content we need to put out there. Just somebody who can help pop it into a couple of dispensaries, or we can also email it so the dispensaries can print it out. That's also super helpful. But I'm looking to put it in other spots too, like art and music places. K-Wink is a huge supporter of us right now. They let me come on every month to talk about cannabis, which I'm so excited about. So I'm like, thank you. So that's a place I'm bringing the poster regularly, but if you can think of new spots, we just want to reach out to even more people, even outside of where the consumption's happening, because there's people who have concerns that need a place to voice it as well too. And then pop-up people. So we definitely have some cool pop-ups, and some of them have come up a little bit last minute as well, but like for instance, 311 was just in town.
Okay, we got him here.
Was it, oh, I said hi! Hello, I didn't know we had celebrities in the house.
Today's 311.
And today is 311. Oh my gosh! So,
Cosmic
rad stuff all around. So, if there's so many places and things coming up, Tony's been putting together some awesome things. Like, there's going to be people who are supporters of NORML, where we just need somebody to be manning the booth, either collecting emails so we can send out information, getting them registered vote, whatever the information is we want to adjust and change for that pop-up. We just need some people who are wanting to man this pretty little tablecloth here, and we can definitely get you set up and prepared. So, definitely reach out if you want to help me with those pieces. So. That's pretty much it for me. Does anybody have any questions for me directly? No? Rockin'. Okay, so I think we're going to switch gears, and Tina's going to come on. Oh, my cable went away, though. Yes, hold on. We'll get this back up and running. So Tina's going to go through our Las Vegas poster. My computer may have turned off.
No way.
Sleep mode, sleep mode.
So you probably smoked some Old Pal Indica. Well, hey, thank you guys for coming while Tess is fixing that. Being here, even if you're a little stoned, is okay. The fact that you got up, you got here, you parked, you maybe paid to park, and literally got into these seats, that is what most people won't do, right? And successful people will always do what most people won't do. So thank you so much. I'm the director, like I said, for the Las Vegas and the Nevada chapter, and it has been such a wonderful and fulfilling last year and a half. We have taken our little chapter from 12 people a year and maybe 3 months ago to now over 125 people, all consumers, right, and some in the industry. So NORML, for those of you who don't know, it stands for National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. And we represent consumers. We could all be fired tomorrow that work in the industry, right? Yep. So we want to make sure, yes, there's good industry laws, but who is the one representing consumers? Who is making sure that there's not people still sitting in prison? That parents don't get CPS called on their kids? That you can get an organ transplant if you're a cannabis consumer? How about when you get pulled over, you don't want to get a felony? Or that if you're a woman or a person of color, you have just as many opportunities on the business side that you do as any other rich person, right? So that's what we're fighting for. And through having people work in the industry, having consumers that are passionate, we have grown our state chapter to now have a Reno chapter. And that is freaking awesome. And it has been so much easier to bring people together in Reno than it is Las Vegas. And maybe it's because you guys have a festival every 17 seconds here. Craft festival, cheese festival, beer festival, wine festival, right? But you have a sense of community. And that's exactly what one of the initiatives that we want to do, is have a sense of community with consumers. When I got in the industry a year and a half ago, I did not see that. And quite frankly, I was in a conversation with all males, and they were talking about question 2, and I didn't know what question 2 meant. Now, I didn't live here when that happened, but I never wanted to feel that ignorant and naive again, especially if I was making my living off of selling weed. So I found our other director, Madison, and she founded the chapter 3 years ago with her own money, and she's a G. She knows so much about policy, way more than me, and we're just such a great team. So we want to bring that same team and community and knowledge to this community. So again, thank you for being here. If you don't know someone too, I encourage you to meet each other, right? You all have one thing in common: you smoke weed. So it's pretty easy to start the conversation. So I'd like to kind of go over first our mission, really, and what's clear. Because cannabis consumers can have different objectives And it's okay if we don't all agree on, hey, who should own consumption lounges, or who should be able to patient home grow, or whatever. We all just want better cannabis laws. So, grassroots nonprofit, I'm a volunteer, they're volunteers, you're volunteers right now. We're working to educate the local community, reform marijuana laws, and protect responsible cannabis consumers in Las Vegas and Greater Nevada. And now that's gonna say Reno and Greater Nevada, right? So it's important that we condone responsible adult use. We're trying to fight for a DUI law right now to change. Don't post pictures smoking weed in your car. Hint, hint. Right? Making sure that you're being responsible and you're leading by example, especially if you're a leader in this space. And you don't need to be have a title to be a leader. If you're here, you are probably leading the cannabis movement, and hopefully you come back and keep coming. Brand partners. I was listening to a podcast on fundraising, and the woman said, if you want to change the world, you got to know how to pay for it. And she's absolutely right. We have a lot of brand partners, many in this room today, that have supported us. If you work for a brand or a company that you think would, we are a 503c A and B, so it is tax deductible as long as you're not a cannabis company. But this is how we keep the movement alive. Earlier this year, we went to Fallon, where Nate has a dispensary, Green Cross, and people still think it's the devil's lettuce. I mean, people and their stigmas are at a level 10. And sometimes we forget that because our stigma is at a level 0, right? It's very normalized. So we were able to travel there from a donation, have a town hall, talk to about 12 women who had been affected by the opioid addiction and their kids had, and it was so effective. We changed 12 people's lives that day, but that's because we had brand partners that helped us. So if you are a brand, we love your support. We're gonna go over the goals really quick so everyone knows kind of what our objectives are from a high level. So Smoke the Vote campaign, like Tess said, we have 5,000 industry employees, hundreds of consumers. How many people do you think are not registered to vote? And not just not registered, but don't know who to vote for that supports cannabis. So one thing that we do is we send our political leaders a survey and we have them fill it out and we'll rate them A through D. A, D, bye. Right? So you or any of your consumer friends can take that little card to the polls and you vote for all the A people. Now, if that happened and we really had 5,000 people, do you think we'd get consumption lounge passed this year or next year? Yes, right? So that is a huge initiative. And that just happens by having that conversation and being educated. Increasing the knowledge of the record sealing process. This past year in 2019, we got a bill passed that would expunge records of less than an ounce. We can't find people to expunge the records. So if you know somebody that has a Nevada misdemeanor with that crime, please let us know. So we want to try to make sure people know how to do that, and it doesn't cost any money to them. On that note too, felons can restore their right to vote. So if you know someone that has a felony and they live in Nevada, this is the year. Safety and testing. We've all heard about the high inflation and labs being paid off, and right? We want to make sure that our weed is safe to our consumers. Support patients, veterans, and seniors. We have a program called our Patient Voucher Program where we give patients, veterans, and seniors product for $1. So Nate at Green Cross has been instrumental. I think Bloom, you guys did it a couple months ago where we donate product that's going to be expired, or if you're a dispensary and you have a hodgepodge of items, we then can contact those people and they get it for $1 from you. Expansion of Nevada NORML, here we are. It's happening. A deeper sense of community. We just put on an event at UNLV, which was awesome, to work with a university that's federally funded, called the 3rd Annual Black History Celebration and Summit. So we had 2 panels, one of political leaders and one of industry leaders, and talked about how we can create a better bill for more inclusion, more social justice, and more criminal justice. And our star speaker was Dizzy Wright, who many of you might know. He has a still moving brand. He's awesome entertainer. He wants to be more involved, and he's going to partner with us in the future. So if we can get somebody that has 300,000 followers to tell people who to vote for, people are going to do it, right? So that was a great event, and we're going to do 3 more, and one is going to be here, probably in July, but we'll have details soon. And then fundraising. So my job is fundraising. This is our goal for the year for Las Vegas NORML and Nevada NORML, and they'll have a goal as well. So ultimately, when 2021 rolls around, we want to be on the lawn in Carson City with our legislators saying, no, we want better laws. And when we went last year, there was 60 people for criminal justice reform, there was 40 people for Planned Parenthood, and there was 8 strange stoners saying, yeah! It was like pathetic. We still got bills passed, but I want the lawn covered with 420 people that are consumers and leaders. And you're coming too, Councilman. So smoke the vote. We touched on that, but we're going to see a lot of it. Local elections. Most people don't know who to vote for, and they're so important. They have so much power. That's one reason why our state is legal, right? That didn't happen from the federal government. That can't happen from our state elections. So we want to make sure you know who to vote for. This is my homie, my assemblyman, Steve Yeager. I call him Steve Jägermeister behind his back, and he doesn't know it. And don't ever tell him that if you do. This man, I got to meet last year when I was lobbying, knocking on the doors in Carson, and I was shaking like a leaf, and I didn't know what to say. And I got in front of him, I Googled him, I found out our commonalities, got in there, talked to him, and now he is the man that is chairing the committee that is going to change the DUI laws. He is so powerful when it comes to our lives, right? And he is a G. He came to speak not our last meeting, but the meeting before. And then last meeting, he came and wasn't even asked, just to support us. He's like, yeah, I was around the corner and I love these things. I'm like, right. He's got like a donut wall, but he's just a normal guy. He's an attorney, right? Political leaders are just normal people who chose to go in politics and take a pay cut and listen to people bitch and complain and hopefully try to change their community. Is that correct?
100%, 110.
I also will be running in 2030 for governor, Allman 2030.
That's awkward, that's what I'm running. I'm kidding.
It won't be friends. If Trump can do it, I can do it. So getting involved. So we pride ourselves on our diverse group too. Again, most of us probably have nothing in common except cannabis, and we're pretty cool, right? So we want to make sure you know how to get involved. Number one, share what you learned. Thank you to everyone who's already posted this. I stalk people. That's why Tess and I were great counterparts. She will DM you and she will tell you to post the meeting. It's the least you could do, right? Tell a friend. If you work at a dispensary, ask, hey, can I post this Reno NORML flyer up here? That is how we grow the people here. Become a member. What does this get you? We get to meet a lot of political leaders. It's really cool. Things I never would have thought I would be doing last year. We get to invite you to special events. And most importantly, you can say, hey, I stand for consumer rights. I think this is wrong and I want better for myself and my community. Attend monthly meetings. Boom, you're doing it now. Volunteer. They're going to have emails. Pay attention to them. Social media, so you have more volunteer opportunities. And this is always a good one when people are volunteering. Commit and follow through. Actually, it's just a good one for the cannabis industry in general.
So one thing before I don't forget about the whole voting stuff, you can early vote, or you can early vote. You can definitely early vote. You can always early vote. But you can register up to day of this year. So I know sometimes you might postpone registering, and you can register online. You can go down, you can register in mail, but if you did put it off to the last day, you can literally walk down the day of election and register to vote. So put that plug in too. Voting, I can't stress that enough. Even if you don't want to vote for me, voting's always an awesome thing because no one votes, sadly. My ward is the lowest voting turnout in the entire city of Sparks. So obviously, I know this is Reno, it's Reno Sparks as a whole. I represent Sparks. I call Reno West Sparks. There's a fun joke. So when Reno became a city in 1868, Sparks was 1905. Before Sparks had a name, everyone called that side of the valley East Reno. So I call this side of the valley West Sparks now. It's just throwing those jabs back. But at the end of the day, we all represent the whole community for sure. And so I think just kind of listening to you guys, definitely, I don't know if there's anyone that lives in Sparks and knows anyone in the cannabis side over there in Sparks. If it wasn't for us as electeds, local for city council, we allowed recreational in Sparks, not just for dispensaries and cultivation, but for testing. The only 2 testing facilities I know still are only in Sparks. 374 Labs and 8 Ag Labs. Yeah, I don't think there's anything in Reno. I don't, unless you guys know otherwise. So we could have voted to not allow rec in Sparks for testing, for cultivation, for production, for dispensing. all of that. We could have just shut it all down. So even though question 2 passed, it was up to us to vote to allow that. And I can tell you, I'm a big number guy, so I don't have this memorized yet. It's been a little bit, but in Sparks, so I represent Ward 1. We had a 61.4% were in favor, 36 against. I won't go through all the wards, but as a city of Sparks, we passed it 51.41 to 47.17.
Wow.
So it's very close, but you know, so I'm a registered nonpartisan, independent, and I've never belonged to either party. My colleagues are all conservatives, all Republicans, and I'm not trying to say anything against either party, but it's not such a party issue anymore. It's definitely not. Don't just, you know, just because someone is liberal does not mean, or just because someone's conservative does not mean they support candidates. I'll definitely stress that one. And so, definitely one of the most, people ask me, so I'm on the campaign show, I'm not trying to make this a campaign speech at all, but people will ask me what is the most, you know, what makes you question your job? What was the hardest thing? It was voting for recreational marijuana, for sure. Passed 3-2 at our city council meeting. There was many rough comments that were said that day from the public about blood's on my hands if anyone dies, just trying to, so I won't say what the other things, but that one was one that stuck with me. And I was elected, I was 20, I'm the youngest councilman ever. I'm 30 years old right now. I got elected at 26. I was in office for I think month 4 or 5. Literally questioning, why the hell am I? Well, why am I doing this? You know, it's not a fun thing to get blamed for. You know, you literally go home questioning why you are here.
Right.
But end of the day, kind of going on your slide is nobody cares about local politics. I know it's true. I'll walk in a room, I'll walk down the street, no one knows who I am, and I'm okay with that. Like my ego doesn't need it. I don't need it at all. But I can literally, not just me, our city council, we can make or break your life. We could have said no to recreational. You know, the question 2 passed and did not allow you any. I know you guys all know all of this already, but
No,
did not allow.
not everybody does. So
did not allow you a legal way to acquire marijuana. Didn't allow you to anything. There's nothing. Just because question 2 passed, it did not allow anything legally. It was up to us. And we have cities in our state still that's still not allowed. In their city, or you can still have it on you. You just can't. There's nowhere to legally acquire it, or grow, or test, or anything. And it's up to us. We're the ones that make that change as electeds, as local city council members. And we're at the bottom. I know where my role is in politics. I'm at literally the bottom, but you guys are right here. We are the closest. I'm not trying to like say that we're at the bottom, but I am literally the closest to your life. I am the one that fixes potholes. And I'm not trying to like say that you're below me. We're all, I'm a normal human being too. I don't take that the wrong way at all. But I am literally, you know, your governor's up here. There's a gap between you and your governor. You're probably not always going to meet your governor. You call me, I'll meet with you for coffee tomorrow. Like,
can you tell us what the role of city council is a little bit?
yeah, so the basic is set a city budget and policy. That's like the very top. That's like the main basic requirements. So we set an overall budget for the city. We're looking at, I think, $80 million this year for the city of Sparks. I mean, I don't know their numbers, and the counties are different, like in the state, there's a whole different budget, but this is for city of Sparks operation. We set that budget, and then we set policies, so we're talking about, you know, for this allowing recreational sales in the city of Sparks, all that. Those are policy decisions we make as electeds. Our mayor does not vote in Sparks either. Reno's mayor does vote, so I'll put that plug in just so you guys know when you're voting here, you have a member of, the mayor is a council member as well, sort of, because they're able to vote, and we don't have that in Sparks. So our mayor only has veto power. Although there's power still, but they don't have voting power on city council. And so talking about marijuana and the budget, this is going to be a little long-winded, so we make, so in Sparks, I don't know if anyone in Reno, you guys might be able to answer this one for me, but we were not first to get legalized recreational marijuana in the city of Sparks. We were July 21st, I think, or 23rd. Reno was July 1st.
Yeah.
Reno did things a little different. Their business license, they did a flat fee of $75,000, I think.
So.
$75,000 flat, quarter. we did 3%. I think it was a quarter. I'm pretty sure it was a quarter. I don't really pay too much attention on the Reno side, but the Sparks, we did 3% of your gross sales and $5,000. And so it took us a little bit longer because we had to rework a business license, actually make policy just for recreational marijuana. So we weren't able to do the July 1st open, which there was, it was a little hit and miss from the business side of it, but either way, we did things right the first time and we didn't have to come back and redo it. And I believe Reno was coming back and they're supposed to redo that. I think they changed it to what we have. Couldn't tell you for sure, but I think so. So from that side of it, we make $1.8 million from recreational and medical, from marijuana, from cannabis in the city of Sparks, period. Not sales tax, that's business license only. So it's 1.8 million. Our total city budget is 80 million. So 80 million is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but 1.8 million is a nice chunk of change that goes along with that. I'm a politician, also a comedian, I feel some days, so please enjoy this joke. Has anyone been to Golden Eagle? GERP? It's the largest artificial, I think it's still true on the West Coast, largest artificial grass turf installation. It's way out there in Wingfield. It's a softball, football complex. It's beautiful. Well, when that was built in the recession, there was no funding mechanism to take care of those fields. We were just happy to be building something. And either way, we got to a point in 2017, where we needed to start replacing fields. And we had no money. Well, there's money, but there's money budgeted for various items. So we actually took money out of our road fund. So we fixed less potholes that year to make sure that we could take care of the fields. Because there's kids, there's a whole, Parks and Rec, and we can go down a whole budget thing. It doesn't pay for itself. It's more what we give back to the community. Parks make our community better. They don't make money for us. Park costs us money, but it's good as a community to have parks. So with marijuana coming around now, after that, we decided as policy to set policy where we take marijuana money and put it towards the Golden Eagle for turf replacement, and we do IT. So we made a policy choice that we will not spend marijuana money because it's still illegal from the federal government on bodies. Because at any given time, we can all everything gets shut down, theoretically. And we don't want to fire bodies that are being backed by cannabis sales. So we do one-time fees, CIP, capital improvement projects, and the joke is we are doing grass for grass. There's my punchline. That's my one joke. I won't do any more today, I promise. But it's grass for grass. And so, you can make a pretty good stance, that marijuana in the city of Sparks, we do put it back. You know where that money is going. It goes for literally the grass, the artificial turf, which I played softball. I was there last night. It's beautiful. It's a nice. We got the infield done this year for softball. We did soccer last year. I don't know what we're doing next time, but the work's getting done there. I had something else on that.
What else is it going for?
Thank you. That's exactly. I lost my train of thought. IT. So servers and iPads and computers, things that help keep our city operating is the other side that it goes to. But we could set policy where we say, no, we don't want to put it towards GERP anymore. We want to hire 20 more firefighters. Or I'm just throwing a number out there. We could do that. But then in 2 years from now, and I'm not lobbying for this, but if it did, if the feds got wild and they shut everything down, we fire 20 firefighters if we were to hire 20 firefighters. So there's a lot of definitely moving parts, and there's some things that I can't fix. I could tell you my opinion of anything. A lot of the partisan things, I could tell you what I would think, but I don't vote on those things at city council. We literally talk about roads, building houses, apartments, new businesses.
Well, we would love to hear your opinion on some things. Christine has conducted a couple questions.
Questions? Sounds
Here,
good.
we just had Republican Senator Scott Hammond. He's our second Republican that has come to our meeting, and we had him answer some questions. And we got our Oprah style on. So Christine.
Cool.
All right, so how would you rate the Department of Taxation, and what would you do to fix that?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
So I'll be honest, I don't deal with taxation. That's a state, that's Assembly and Senate. So the short answer is nothing. I have no role with taxation from a city councilman. I don't even know who works at taxation. So I'm not, it's probably not the answer to you, but I literally, my role is not in taxation.
Not your role, but if, do you know anything about them and how would you rate them?
No, I pay
Okay,
them
pass.
for my own business. I own a photography business, so I pay them sales tax, but I don't know any.
Okay, they're horrible. Next question. They actually are, and I just want to touch on this. So
Yeah.
the Department of Taxation, we just had a reporter come from the Nevada Independent, Dana Gentry, and she did a story about the corruption, the harassment, both harassment and sexual harassment of an employee. You can look it up. It is a horrible story that's just disgraceful, especially as somebody who is put in a position like this to oversee, and we're supposed to be the gold standard. There was nepotism, the woman's daughter was an auditor. It makes me sick. It really makes me sick, especially when we're supposed to be the gold standard. And I'll tell you this, if the people at the top aren't gonna be the gold standard, we, the consumers in industry, are absolutely gonna be the gold standard. Can I get an amen?
Those are great questions to talk when you're talking for your assembly. Like, we all have questions when you guys are doing your report card where they are going to be directed at various state offices or city offices. They won't ever, they would never have an effect on allowing recreational marijuana in the city of Sparks as a state assembly or senator, but they would be the ones for the taxation. So I'm not trying to dodge a question at all, but I really,
That's okay.
I don't have that effect there.
That's okay.
It's an important state department because, as you know, that's where they determine how much funds go back to the cities.
Yeah, for sales tax.
For sales tax.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a big impact, and that's why, local jurisdictions want to grow because the more people they have, the more sales tax they have, the more property tax they have on that. So it's really important. I know you're saying that's a different department, but it's actually it's the gas that feeds the car.
It is.
For the cities and the counties.
I've never had a complaint about taxation until right now, ever.
Please look more into it.
I'm
The
just
Nevada
saying,
Independent,
but see, no one
it's
tells
on
me
the
these
lot.
things.
That's what we're here for.
I
We are
know.
also here to educate our political leaders, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are hungry to learn, but just don't know. That's where we
Yes.
come in.
Just like us.
So I guess my next direction would be lounges. I think everybody here is hungry for a lounge. Blatantly put, on a state level, we can have it, but it's criminal for us to consume it anywhere. What would be your vision for cannabis lounges, and kind of what would be your action to take on that?
So on cannabis lounge, I think there's a great question I haven't got answered yet, is looking at the ventilation on like first responders. If there was ever say there's a brawl, I think of it like a bar. There's a fight in there. Do our first responders, do our police officers have to get suited up for oxygen? Because if they test positive, well, they test positive, and then we cannot. Do we terminate our police officers? Like, where are we at there? Because we test them, and if they have any cannabis in them, they're gone.
Well, let's talk about a high level. Okay, right now we're being criminalized. There is nowhere to smoke.
Oh, I understand
So,
that one, but I also have to look at the city level of.
You have people that are consuming in the streets, in Las Vegas especially, up and down Las Vegas Boulevard, blunts in kids' faces, right? People that rent can't consume in their home, right? So we passed a law, but we didn't think it all the way through, right? So just from that perspective, and our Las Vegas City Council passed consumption lounges at the end of the year, and then Steve Sisolak created a bill, AB 533, that overruled that because he got $2 million of donations from the Resort Association. So, being that you are on the city council, our city council passed it, would you be in favor of creating consumption lounges, or for businesses to apply for a license, like let's say you own a barber shop, a nail salon, whatever, you can apply for a license for $2,000, and now you can choose to have consumption in your business.
So I can't take a stance right now because I have those questions about my first responders. Do they then go on leave for?
So I actually have a suggestion. In the collective bargaining agreements for IAFF,
Yep.
there's alcohol. There's also alcohol thresholds on there. So you can have so much alcohol in your system if you're tested. So why not put it in the collective bargaining agreement so you can have a certain amount of cannabis or in your system? So, it's just because that happens.
It needs to be
Yeah,
out though.
And so we don't deal with collective bargaining. That is a city manager, city staff role. That's not, we don't get, it's illegal for us to participate in collective bargaining. And
But
so,
I imagine you can then direct the city manager of, hey, this issue has come up, I met with this group NORML, this issue
Yeah.
came up, and
I see your point, Councilman, but it's really kind of the least important point that we're talking about. We are criminalized.
no, I understand that.
So if you are smoking on the street, it is, the first offense is a misdemeanor with $500, and the second offense is a felony for $1,000. So now, if you're just down here by the river strolling around, which maybe I do sometimes, maybe I don't know, smoking, right? I could be a felon.
I hear you. I understand there's no legal way if you're a tourist or something.
Right.
I understand it, but there's other questions to get. And like I said, I can't take a stance on until I hear answers. If I told you yes, and then, maybe that's not a reasonable thing. Maybe they don't want to bargain that.
But
and
but you have to ask the question first, right? I mean, you're hearing from constituents, these are some of the concerns that are out there. So the CBA, I mean, collective bargaining agreements, I know you, as council, you don't have you're not negotiating with them, but you do have policy direction to your city manager of, hey, these are issues that have come up, and, can you take a look at this? Because there's a lot of smart people in Sparks. And, you could just talk to them.
Definitely. So no, I agree with the tourist thing. I'm not disagreeing with that, the criminalizing of it. I hate to make a choice that's going to affect, because if it was, say this was true, I'm just speaking out loud, and we have to put a police officer, pay him off, I'm not pay him off, but pay him on leave for, say, 2 months, a month. We're already understaffed police officers right now, and we'll get to a point where, what do we do?
I really do think that there was definitely a way around that. When we had these conversations,
Okay.
that honestly was never even an objection from the Las Vegas City Council. The deal was, should independent business owners be able to apply for a license, or should it be adjacent to a dispensary, right?
Gotcha.
And who should get these licenses? Because most everyone understands, yes, we need to have tourists somewhere to smoke. People should not just be smoking as a free-for-all, and we should not be criminalized. And it's up to our legislators to make sure that we are not criminalized. So regardless of that, if you could kind of have a little magic wand and create something, what would you like to see?
For
Consumption lounges, social use venues.
Casinos.
Well, that takes it'd be federally legal and descheduled. And he doesn't have that jurisdiction yet.
Yeah.
But technically, he and the other city council members could do exactly like Las Vegas did.
I don't know. This is a conversation I've never had. I won't lie. I will not lie about it.
That's okay.
And so, I understand that, public and so I understand that it's not, it's a frustration that we have during our special events. Our people walking down,
I also
with the
think
families.
that it's not just tourists.
Yes.
I don't own a home, and I can't smoke in my house, and I can't smoke anywhere legally. And I've been a resident here for over a decade.
Yep.
So, it's not just a tourist industry that's looking for a legal spot to smoke. It's me not being paranoid that my neighbor next door isn't going to call the cops because I'm smoking a blunt on my back patio, or someone's going to say something because I have to smoke inside my house. And yeah, my kid is not near me, but that's a quick, easy red flag for them. And I'm a responsible person, so you can imagine the people that are maybe not so they're a little more carefree about it.
Gotcha.
Well, thank you for your transparency.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're here for, so that you know what our needs are, consumers, and just the growing need of, the state, really.
There's a lot of moving parts, and you guys got to vote. I'm not lying about this sounds silly. If you share on Facebook, you share whatever your thoughts are, that doesn't do anything. It gets message out there, but it doesn't make policy change. It does not do a thing there. I don't care how many times you share it, but you have to get out to those ballot boxes. And it's an election season. We're all listening more than, I try to listen as much as I can anyways, if I'm up for office or not, but everyone's ears are a little bit more perked when they need votes.
That's right.
I'll throw that one out there, so.
Well, we're cutting it a little bit close, so I want to say thank you for coming out here. I am going to take you up on that coffee and
Sounds
carry
good.
this on. But let's give a round of applause.
Right now?
Right now.
Yeah, literally filing ends Friday, so. Make it a habit, vote for Abbott. I'll put the plug in.
Okay.
As long as you have that coffee with Christine.
Oh, I'm glad.
Real quickly, what's a good way for people to contact you?
I have business nothing leave behind, but my email is donald@sparksproud.com. My cell phone number is 775-771-8674. So my website too, if you got any of them, is sparksproud.com.
And he's on IG.
Yeah, and Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, Donald for Sparks for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I think that's my whole life. If you do have anyone that speaks Spanish, my campaign site, Sparks Orgulloso, or Donald for Sparks, so it'd be like Donald for, but in Spanish it's P-O-R. So I no hablo español, but I also don't think language should be a barrier for conversating, especially in government. You know, we make policy change that affects no matter what skin tone you are or what language you speak. So there's that as well.